Welcome back to my channel. It's Krista here to do the weekly reading for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you don't know your Moon and Rising sign, Capricorn, there is a link in the description box to find your whole birth chart. And that way, for additional information for the week, you can always look at your Moon and Rising sign readings in addition to your Sun sign reading. So this is for Capricorn for the week of August 29th to September 5th. I'll be using the Wisdom of the Oracle deck for your 3-card main spread today, and we'll use the bottom of the deck for general energy for the week, and then as always drawing additional message cards from each of the Healing with the Angels tarot and the Medicine card tarot. Whoa, sorry. So this is a general reading, whatever is most prominent in your life. I encourage you to take these messages and apply them to, and hopefully you find them helpful in healing. So what does Capricorn need to know? So we're just looking for one more jumper card and then we'll get to the reading here. Okay, so we have 2. I am going to take those. Whenever there are 2 jumpers, whether they're upside down or not, I usually take them. So I'm going to let this one influence the 3rd card here, which is your probable outcome position. Whoa. Okay, Capricorn, so let's get a general snapshot of what is going on here for the week for you. We do have some high energy cards here, ones that I consider major arcana, even though this deck is a 52 deck and doesn't have a major arcana, but I consider several in this deck to be high arcana cards, Never-Ending Story being one, Treasure Island being the other. That being said, let's look at what's going on with all of these together. It looks like you're coming to terms with something and you need to make a decision over something, very possibly a long-held, lifelong belief or belief system or opinion. Something having to do with Libra or Libran qualities. There could be issues of ideas, fairness, or justice. There could be issues of the spirit as opposed to the body. And there is a great deal of wisdom or psychic energy involved here too. You may be uncomfortable with that, however. If you're not, I would heed those very closely, that being your intuition. If you are uncomfortable with that, I would encourage you to turn to any spirit guide that you have relied on in the past at this time to guide you in the right direction. You are there is a balanced theme here. You're on a fence or a tight wire. I don't see there being some sort of timeline or a deadline here, except when you could be putting on yourself. And it's definitely time to let go of something, like I said, that you have clung to for whatever reason. And we're looking at issues of ideas, ideologies, belief systems, and of course, how you present to the world, what you believe you are in the world and how you present yourself to the world. So let's look at why I'm suggesting that's what's going on here for you, beginning with the general energy for the week, which is all that glitters. This is why I'm speaking about possibly looking at how you engage in the world and belong in the world, as opposed to your belief systems about the world and your belief systems about how and why you belong in the world. All that glitters obviously is not gold. This is where they're going with this, but of course we have the massive mountain of gold nuggets and 2 masks. Masks are always important in terms of imagery. We're looking at hiding yourself, hiding oneself, masking one's true self away from the self, or not being able to look at the self. When we look at all that glitters isn't gold, what we are saying is that maybe what you've got yourself tied up in, and when I say tied up, you'll know what I mean by that. So whatever is most prominent in your life, whatever you feel tied up in that is a public expression to the world may not be true. And you may be having to come to terms with what's true about you and what isn't, and what you're aligning yourself with and why. Very specifically, I'm looking at issues of, or the card is looking at very specific issues of wealth and prosperity. Not mental, psychological, or spiritual prosperity. This is where you are sitting currently. But this is what you are questioning. This is what you're being forced to, or you're forcing yourself to examine here. Why would you choose to hide from something, and what do you think you're getting from it in this world, okay, as opposed to the spirit world? Very interesting. Okay, so in your current position is to be fair. Now, this is where we're talking again, like I mentioned, with the Libran influence. We're looking at justice, fairness, ideas, inspiration, the arts, beauty, and of course that tight wire, right? That there's a line being crossed here. There's a tight wire that is being balanced here. Her scales are in balance. However, it's interesting, and I'm going to point out particularly having to do with this. So on the one scale, we have a pearl. It's a massive pearl, which is riches. On the other scale, we have a cookie, which dissolves really quickly. It's a, right? It can be consumed. It can be completely gotten rid of altogether, with a nope. There's a little tiny note in it, and it says N-O-P-E, nope. So like as in no. So these are in balance, and this is where I see you looking at this very specifically. You're looking at issues of justice and having something that can be dissolved like immediately. In other words, be like worthless, right? So we're looking at worthlessness on balance with riches, but they're completely scaled out. These completely weigh each other out. So you're not sure where you stand, and you're not sure you want to know, because once you face this, you're going to have to make a decision. You can't possibly be, no one can, I'm not just picking on you, but no one can possibly be in this sense of stability constantly. There has to be an up and down constantly, or else you're not growing, you're not living, right? You have to examine things you've taken for granted all your life, or the majority of your life, or something that you feel, if you're honest with yourself, that you're clinging to. You really have to take that to task this week, or it will be taken to task for you. The reason why I believe that's going on is because not for you is the influence to the current position you're in, which is balance, and why you would find yourself here. I do want to mention, of course, we have the wise owl here, so we're looking at psychic energy as well. So like I mentioned a moment ago, if this is intuitively pointing a specific way for you, heed that. That's the point of this psychic and intuitive energy here. The more you dismiss that, the further you'll be away from justice, or influencing or being influenced by justice. And the longer you will have to succumb to what I'm going to suggest here is what you're not going to get to the bottom of, because stubborn, not ready, not willing. Why would you be putting this off? I'm curious. So here's your second fortune cookie. This isn't for you. You have 2 fortune cookies, 2 nopes, right? The egg is being, so now this, let's say that's missing, and this is going to fall. It's going to be heavy. This needs to be replaced. What this game was, where you thought was really sturdy, is a game. It might have even been a lie. which is a terrible recognition if you've held it for a long time. Something is being suspended in midair. It may have never been real. This dissolves like in seconds. Imagine pouring water over it or just eating it. It's gone. You can't get it back. It actually says, no, this game is over. What you thought was real isn't real, Capricorn. And this needs to be replaced, because if you don't replace it, this will take over. And then there will be definitive imbalance. Now, here's what's interesting. The probable outcome is the second chance. The law of attraction here. The law of attraction means that you're going to understand something very sincerely and quickly, that what it says here is that you're going to wish you hadn't. So why would be my major question here. Why? Because it's probably going to upset your lifestyle. It's going to upset your belief system. It's going to upset maybe even your sense of prosperity or your sense of earthly wealth, or a mask that you wear, which is how you go about the world, how other people see you, and more importantly, how you want other people to see you, which, let's be frank about this right now, that's ego, right? And this is no judgment, like we all have ego, it's a human condition. But this has superseded so long that something's going to take its place, or it will be forced to be removed and usurped by something. Okay, so probable outcome is Treasure Island. This is law of attraction, law of design, law of divinity, law of love, capital L law. Okay, this is divine. This is source, something much larger than ourselves. Riches abound. One of the humanity's most ancient symbols for the entire universe is the turtle. So something on a universal level is really being shaken up for you. You don't want to see it. Never-ending story. You've met with this before. You've definitely met with this before. And you don't want to face it. Or it's really going to take something from you. And you don't think you can do without it. And I'm going to suggest it's ego. So something could be, I'm going to leave you with this and draw other cards because this is really intense. I'm going to suggest that something is shaking you to your core this week, that you know in your heart, if you don't get to the bottom of it, it's going to keep reappearing, and you know that clinging to it is your ego. It has nothing to do with spirituality. Especially if this is a spiritual issue, Capricorn. What you think you're clinging to that's right is a hoax. You need to get to the bottom of something here. You need to have balance. You need to have objectivity. You need to be able to look at this through the lens of source. If possible, and I'm going to suggest really make it important this week, take your ego out of it. First of all, identify your ego, right? That flipped around in the deck as I was turning the other cards around. You're not going to be able to get away from this, Capricorn. Something really wants your attention. Source really wants your attention. How's it going to get it? Are you going to wait? I really hope. I don't want you to be in the midst of a crisis for you to pay attention to this. And I don't want something taken away from you in order for you to pay attention to this. You're being asked to look at something sincere and deep for yourself that feels gamey or tricky, or if you've ever muttered the words, you know what, don't ask, don't question it, I just go with the flow. Time's up. Can't go with the flow. Here's what awaits you if you do this. Joy. I actually didn't expect to see this. But joy awaits you, and I'm suggesting, and I'm sincere about this right now, if you're willing to look at something, take the mask off, get rid of the ego, get rid of what you might get from it, or perceived benefits. Go at it through the law of joy, the law of love, the law of redemption, the law of justice. If you examine this issue through those higher consciousness laws, you will be met with joy, and I think this will bring tears to your eyes in a really beautiful way. You're being given an opportunity this week, Capricorn, to shed something that doesn't belong to you or is no longer of use to you or is actually causing you harm, and you can't, for whatever reason, see that right now. So joy awaits, but you need to make a decision. So listen, I'm genuinely curious about this. Please let me know in the comments how this works out for you. And if you're not already, subscribe to my channel because I upload videos for your sign every week. So Capricorn, let me know. I need to know what is going on this week for you because this is really intense. All right, I'll leave it there. You take good care of yourself. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.